Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Randy Freeze. I'm stepping in the duties for Adams County Republican Chairman Jim Perry, who sends his regrets. He would much rather be here than the duties that he's attending to otherwise this afternoon. Just like to say a few thank yous and a few welcomes to Mayor Kyle Moore, Mayor of Quincy. Thank you for being here with us today. And thank you for our chairman from Pike County and people from Morgan County for coming over here today, and to the media. Thank you for coming out and covering the event. And without further ado, I would just like to introduce and bring someone up to say a few words who really needs no introduction. She's been a voice of reason, a voice of good common sense in a city where common sense isn't so common. She's represented this area for about the past 7 years, and she's a good solid voice and a vote for conservatism in this area. So without further ado, please welcome Jill Tracy.
Well, thank you. It's my honor today to introduce a very special friend of mine and a friend of all of Western Illinois. Tom Cross is announcing today his run for state treasurer, and I have to tell you what high regard I hold this gentleman in. He's been a great friend to me. He's been a great mentor. He understands how desperately Illinois needs fiscal responsibility, and he is willing to step up and put his talents and skills to the task and continue to be that strong reformer for fiscal responsibility and common sense in the treasurer's office. Tom is a regular guy just like all of us. He grew up in a minister's family. He has been proven and highly regarded as a criminal prosecutor, and more recently as the Illinois leader of the House Republicans. And in that role, he has stood up tirelessly to travel around the state to stand up for fiscal responsibility and reform, and very importantly, not afraid to back down or step down in any way, shape, or form from Mike Madigan or the city of Chicago politics that oftentimes tries to dominate Illinois politics and the Capitol. So with that, I want to introduce my dear friend, Tom Cross, who's been a great leader in the House Republicans and will make a great state treasurer, and I know he will be the next state treasurer of Illinois.
Thanks, Jill. Thank you all, Randy and Jill, and Mayor, thank you for all being here. It's always good to be here with Jill. She has done an incredible job representing this area. And I always, sometimes we take our legislators for granted, and we don't realize how good they are. And you have a very, very good state representative in Jill Tracy, and I know she's on to bigger and better things, and she will be equally good at that. And she's just a good, talk about a good person, and has never forgotten what representation is about. So Jill, good luck with all of your travels, and she and I will be running into each other a lot. I want to, some of you I know, some of you I don't know. We've been doing this now for 2 days, and we started yesterday in Chicago, and I was fortunate enough to have my family there. My mom and dad were with us when we did the announcement, and my dad's as Jill mentioned, a Methodist minister, retired, so I'm a PK. And so one of the good things about it, as I look back at it now, is we moved around all over the state, or at least in the northern part of the state. Originally, my mom and dad are from Alabama, so we moved here from Alabama when I was young. And it turns out to be, I think, a good thing as I travel around the state, because it gives you a perspective of the different types of people we have, whether you're from Chicago or Quincy or Central Illinois, Southern Illinois. But we all have the same concerns, we all have the same challenges, and that's good schools, good health care, jobs, etc. So the other thing that was good about yesterday is my mom was there, who was a teacher and a principal, and my wife was there, who's a current teacher. We have some great conversations about pensions at our house, as you can imagine, at the dinner table. And our daughter was not there. She's a junior in college. She's at North Central. She's actually been out here to play in the tournament over at Quincy University. And our son is a senior in high school. So it was a good day and a special day. But we then went to Rockford, Rock Island, Peoria this morning, and Quincy. And to give you a perspective of why we're doing this, I think everybody that pays any attention to state government in Illinois knows that the challenges we face are daunting, they're immense, they're very, very scary. And you can take different routes in this. You can leave, like some people do, and have moved. And as Jill and I think is probably finding out now more than ever, that you run into people who say, I'm just giving up on this state. I'm not staying. I'm going to leave. I didn't choose to do that. Jill didn't want to do that. Randy didn't want to do that. Mayor, you didn't want to do that. I want to be part of this, finding a solution to these huge, huge problems. And I want to be part of the discussion, and I want to find answers. I think now more than ever, it's going to require some innovative ideas, some bold ideas, and some strength. But at the end of the day, I want Illinois to succeed. It is a great state. It's the best state there is, and we need to revive it, and we need to make it strong again. That's why I decided to run for treasurer. It wasn't an easy decision for me. I enjoy the House. I've met great friends, and I've worked with people on both sides of the aisle to try to solve problems. But at the end of the day, those problems that we have in the Illinois General Assembly and those challenges usually revolve around a state government that has some fiscal certainty and some fiscal stability, and we don't have that anymore. And I felt like at the end of the day that I could make a bigger impact acting as a fiscal watchdog for the people of the state of Illinois, and that's why we're running for treasurer. The decisions that have been made over the last few years have not focused on what needs to be done. We have skyrocketing debt, we have the nation's largest budget deficit, and we have the highest taxes the state's seen in a long, long time. And it's making it harder and harder for Illinois families. And so, as you look at the numbers, and they're really, really scary, and Jill knows these as well as I do, $7 to $8 billion in unpaid bills, a pension system that is, even as we continue to put more money in it, it's in an attempt to kind of prop it up, it is on the verge of collapse. The bond houses are saying to us, you are on a collision course with bankruptcy. And as we continue to put more and more money into a state government, that it's not working and it's failing its citizens. And so I'm of the opinion we can fix it. I don't think we have a choice. We have to fix it. And as I say to people as we travel around the state, you may not understand the magnitude of the problem, or you may not understand it, but how do we have good schools in Quincy if we don't have any money to fund them? How do you have safe communities in Peoria or Springfield or Chicago if you can't pay for law enforcement? Or in Quincy, how do you take care of the disabled and the elderly and the abused if all we're worried about is trying to catch up on our unpaid bills and jobs? How do you have jobs when companies are saying, I'm not sure we want to stay here anymore. I'm not sure we want to grow here. I'm not sure we want to come here. And you guys have that perspective being on a border community, that is a real challenge for us. So how do you turn that around? And how do you restore trust in government? And how do you get people believing again in Illinois government? And how do you make it a better place for families? One of the things that I thought about is the role of treasurer has historically been seen, and Judy Bartopika did a great job. Dan Rutherford's doing a good job. So this is not an opinion about their job skills. They've done great. But I think the traditional days of saying the treasurer's going to sit in the back room and just with a calculator count money, while that may be a component of the job, and that's what it's seen, we have to take this job and in this position and step it up a notch or two. And we need to be part of the discussion of changing the direction of the state. One of the things that I think we need to do is honestly balance our budget. We see these gimmicks that the Democrats and the governor have used time and time again. And the Constitution requires that we have a balanced budget. State statute says you got to have a balanced budget. But yet we don't. And at the rate we've been going, we're now at a point of having $7 to $8 billion of unpaid bills, meaning we don't balance the budget. I called a good friend of mine the other day, he's in Springfield, in Indiana, his name is Brian Bottom, he's the Speaker of the House. I said, do you guys really balance your budget? Because we balance our budget down to the last penny, and you guys can do the same thing. So what we will do in the Treasurer's office is we will, on a monthly basis and a daily basis, keep an eye on the governor and the members of the General Assembly and say, you need to balance the budget according to the statutes and according to the Constitution. And if you don't, we will go to court to make sure it's balanced. I don't usually like to go to court to solve a problem, but if that's what it takes to make sure we get our bills paid and balance our budget and want people to come to Illinois, we will do that. The second thing we want to do is when you think about all the fraud and corruption in the state of Illinois, that you can be a teacher for a day and become part of the teacher retirement system, that's unacceptable. That type of fraud and abuse is unfair to taxpayers and retirees. When the state of Illinois gets charged by the SEC for filing fraudulent documents, securities fraud violation, that's unacceptable. We're going to create a government integrity unit within the Treasurer's office that is made up of prosecutors, law enforcement folks, and financial experts to keep an eye on this and not let that happen. When the press, they do a good job, or the U.S. Attorney's Office or the federal government is telling us where the fraud and abuse is, that's too late. We don't want that to happen, and we want to be ahead of the game. And the third thing is that I think one of the reasons we've gotten into such a bad problem is the public and elected officials, and maybe even perhaps the press. You haven't been given all of the information and the accurate information in a timely manner. If you're running a corporation, you do quarterly statements and quarterly reports to the folks that are your shareholders and to the public at large to let you know a snapshot of where you are now. But they also give you a snapshot where if they think of what they think is going to look like in 3, 5, and 10 years, and we haven't done that. So we want to be able to provide more information in a timely manner and an accurate manner. So at the end of the day, we're going to focus on unbalanced budgets. We're going to focus on paying bills. We're going to focus on the unemployment. We're going to focus on the fraud and corruption. And if we can balance budgets, eliminate that fraud and waste, and get this government back on track, then we would have had a successful run at Treasurer. So we're excited about the challenges. We're not going to run from the challenges. We're going to embrace those challenges, and we hope others will join us in that endeavor. And thank you all for being here. And if you guys have any questions, we'll try to answer. Thank you.